What's up, everybody? Over at twitch.tv/Lawler, talking about the Rocket Leagues, and we got a special one for y'all today, just like we did last week. It's Regional 3. We've got Europe this weekend, and we've got some pretty crazy scenarios. We've got a bunch of teams, obviously 16 in total, all trying to compete to go to the major in Los Angeles. We've already got a bunch of our teams from OCE, MENA, North America, and everything else already qualified, but from Europe, we only have two. We've got Queso and BDS that have clinched a spot. They will be going, but we need to find the other three teams that are going to get there. And to help you guys understand what your team needs to do to make it, we've got tiebreaker scenarios. As always, massive thank you to Direct, the statistician for Rocket League Esports, changing the way stats have been presented on the broadcast. The guy's an absolute legend. He's got some help as well from others in the community, but this is his document. I have gotten the AOK. These are solidified. These are like basically RLCS sanctioned tiebreakers. If you want to know what your team needs to do, there's going to be timestamps down below. Find the one for the team that you are rooting for, and then click that section, hit pause, and it'll tell you everything you need. North America had 12 teams that were still eligible, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 teams. 14 teams still in the running for 3 spots. So should be interesting to see. Some of these teams have a pretty tough time, but it's wide open still. It is wide open still. So with that said, we're going to go from team to team. We're going to go from the team that is the most likely to the least likely, and then we'll do a summarization at the end, show some points to break it all down. So with that said, let's jump over to the other screen. Up first, we're going to be talking about Dignitas. Dignitas right now, probably the third best team. Queso is breaking their way in, which is pretty exciting. BDS and Queso have already qualified, so Dignitas right now sitting in third place. In order to make the major, they need to clinch with a 7th or 8th finish or better. If you guys don't know where that is in the bracket, that is lower round 2. So they can either take first in their group, which like this should be so easy for them to do, but they have yet to do it. So I expect them to drop down to the lower bracket. In the lower bracket, they then need to win 1 match. If they do not get eliminated in the group stage, they win 1 match, which is lower round 1. They then go to lower round 2. That is top 8. They are fine. They can win the whole thing. They place top 6 guaranteed. They're good. Or they drop to lowers, win 1 round. There's a bunch of other scenarios and they get crazier from there, but I'm not going to go down to all the specifics. Basically, the teams below them need to perform worse than them. It's basically how it works. But I'm not going to go into all the specifics. No need to break it down and go crazy into it. Yeah, if they make Saturday, they're good. If you see Dignitas playing on Saturday, it's a great way to put it safe, Plum. See Dignitas playing on Saturday this weekend? They've made it in. Next, Evil Geniuses, 4th place right now. They get a little bit crazier because they've got to be able to have enough points to where the teams below them don't matter. Also, these will get updated throughout the weekend. If they're red, that means, or if they're green, that means they've already happened. They can clinch a major spot if they take top 2. If you see Evil Geniuses Championship Sunday in the grand final, they did it. Top 2 is the only one and only way they can guarantee a spot. If they place top 3 again, like they did last time, I'm pretty sure they were top 3 last time because they lost lowers, dropped down, but they lost winter final, dropped down, and then got eliminated. So if they do the exact same as they did last time and they place top 3, they need 1 or more of the following things to happen. Dignitas finished 9th to 12th, which is what we just talked about. They can't finish top 8. Endpoint cannot finish 4th or worse, or they need, I should say, I'm saying these backwards. So 1 or more of the things need to happen. In order for Evil Geniuses to qualify, everybody needs to sub with Twitch Prime and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do it. Turn on notifications. Greatly appreciated. But finish top 3, and they need Dignitas to not make it top 8, Endpoint to finish 4th or worse, and Misfits to finish 4th or worse. So they need the teams that are really close to them in the standings to be a little bit worse than them. That's kind of the importance. Okay. This spreadsheet is made by Direct. Shoutouts to Direct. As always, massive thank you to him. And then obviously if they finish 4th, and then they need 5 or more. That's the crazy thing. Them not finishing top 3 makes their chances like infinitely harder. Because if they finish 4th, they need 5 or more of these things to happen. That's tough. That's very tough. So, e.g., top 3 is where you're looking. That's pretty much what you're hoping for. But then go to Endpoint. Endpoint's got a pretty tough fight as well. If they win the entire thing, they're in. If they win the entire thing, they get 351 points. They are solid. Good to go. If they don't win but still make top 2, They need Dignitas to go out immediately in the lower bracket and not make Saturday. They need EG to finish 4th or worse, and they need Misfits Gaming not to win, which is very likely. If Endpoint's in the grand finals, I doubt Misfits will be as well. So that is going to probably come to fruition. But then a bunch of other scenarios, it gets crazy. I mean, they can completely not even make groups, right? Like Endpoint can get eliminated in groups, but then they need a ton of help. Understand the difference with and statements. That means they need this and this and this and this, and they need all of these things to happen. And if you are watching your team, the best example I can give is if you're watching a team and you're like, okay, what classification are they at? If I'm watching Endpoint and be like, you know what? They made it out of groups, but they lost right away. Dang it. Then I go to this section and say, okay, they finished 9th to 12th, and they need 11 or more of these things to happen. And you just start checking them off as they happen. That's the best way to follow along. So that is what you were looking for. Prime example, like Chad is saying, Space Station. Space Station went 9th to 12th, and you just waited for all these scenarios. Luckily for Space Station, it was between Oxygen and V1, and you had one team that could play upset. So makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, pick the section of where your team finished, and then start reading. Best way to do it. Next, Misfits. Misfits also can clinch if they get a win. They got to get the big W. Not easy. Not easy for Misfits. If they take second, one or more of the following: Dignitas, Evil Geniuses, and Endpoint. Again, the 3 teams above them, they need to perform bad. But they can, if they take second, have EG get up to 4th, and they cannot have Endpoint win the whole thing. The cool thing that Direct added to this video and to this spreadsheet, tiebreaker scenario. So if Dignitas do get eliminated in groups and 2 of these things happen and they do top 4, there is a tiebreaker. So they added tiebreaker scenarios, which is really cool as well. So Dignitas, again, if there's a little like asterisk boy, check underneath and it'll have the scenario. Chat is asking also if this document's gonna be public. I don't make it public because I've been asked not to, but if you guys would like to be able to stay up to date on it when it does go public, description down below is a link to Direct's Twitter. Go follow that. He pasted the link and tweeted it out at one point. So there is a chance that it does happen. There is a bunch of random people in here as well. So it does look like that it probably is public. I think Direct did tweet it. We're going to confirm that. He probably did. Europe scenarios have been added. Yes. So it is public. You can go to a spreadsheet here. So this document has all the scenarios for all the different groups, and then he makes them public when they're finalized. So it is here. I will link this tweet in the description down below. Go follow that man. He does wonders for the scene. All right, next we got K Corp. They need at least 2nd place. They got to get top 2, and they need a lot of help as well. So not only do they have to get top 2, they clinch with the win, and they clinch with 2nd place. But if they get 2nd place, then they need some help. Oh no, I said that wrong. So they clinch with a win, and 2 or more of the following things have to happen. So they can win. Even if they win, they still need help. That's actually insane. K-Corp's going to be tough. K-Corp's going to be very tough. So you're basically hoping that K-Corp wins it, and then Dignitas doesn't finish top 8. You're hoping that EG doesn't finish top 4. You're hoping Endpoint doesn't finish top 3. Like that's a very tough. That's very tough for K-Corp, and it only gets more and more complicated as things progress. I would be focusing on them probably in this area, probably like the 5-6. You need them to finish like number 1 in their group and then hope for a ton of help, which I will say, if they're finishing there, that means other teams probably are going to be fighting in the lower bracket, which will help them out. So again, we saw the same thing in NA last week where Energy decided to knock off some teams early because they were in the lower bracket, which helped out others. So that kind of stuff can happen. You just need the one big upset to give them an advantage. We then go to Luminosity. Luminosity also very similar regards to K Corp. They have to win and they need some help. Exact same, actually, I'm pretty sure, as K Corp. Again, Luminosity has pulled the group of death. They ran into BDS for their 3rd time. You're expecting them to then place and be somewhere starting here, which is not good enough. They have to make it to Saturday. If LG does not make it to Saturday, they are done. They've got to get past lower round 1 to give themselves any chance. That is the focus. LG, you have to play on Saturday. If you are not playing on Saturday, you are gone. Big ouchies. It's very tough. Very, very tough. We go to Vitality. Vitality gets a little bit of a nod because even though their results haven't been that great, they still are in the top 8-point area, right? So they get automatic bids into the top 16. They haven't had to play in qualifiers. But they, again, just like K Corp, LG, and stuff, if they win, they're in the point totals, then they need some help with the teams above them. And then from there, same thing with them. If they don't finish and play on Saturday, they're gone, which I think is possibly likely. Vitality's been kind of in a weird place. And knowing them with their back up against the wall, they'll completely prove all of us wrong. Predictions are going to be in a video tomorrow. Make sure you guys watch that. But Vitality's got and needs some major help. There's a lot of teams they need to perform poorly. Guild's been looking better. NaVi's been looking better with Virtuoso. You've been seeing Williams Resolve and 00 Nation. And yeah, last week was not good for Vitality. So they need a lot of help. Again, here's the full scenarios for left side. And then I will bring it over again so you guys can see the right side. A link to this document will be in the description for y'all. Up next, we got Williams Resolve. Williams Resolve is pretty tough. So their situation is a little bit weirder just because of their point placement, if I remember 100%. So Williams Resolve is the exact same points as Vitality. So a lot of these are going to be similar to theirs. Yeah, Vitality and Williams Resolve are the same, it looks like. So again, they still need the tiebreaker over Dig. They need a bunch of help. If they don't finish at least top 8. What you're basically hoping, if you're one of these teams, is that you are basically seeing like a fingers crossed you make first in your group. Because if you make first in your group, you guarantee 5, 6. It's going to bump down some of the big names in your group. Like your, your EGs, your endpoints, your more assumed top players. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's really tough. So primarily for them, you need a top 2 finish. Top 2 is the only way you're going to have a legitimate chance. Because if you're top 2, then there's a very likely chance that a lot of these things aren't happening. But like, even if Dignitas doesn't make it out of groups, you're still playing tiebreakers. Like that's brutal. It's very, very difficult. 00 Nation also in that conversation right now. They are sitting at 280 points, which is 30 points behind. That is the difference between like 8th and top 6 and top 4, top 3, etc. 30 points is the difference between all of them. The only time it's not is the difference from lower round 1 to lower round 2, which is 9 through 12 and 7-8. 7-8 and 9-12 is a 50-point jump as compared to 30. Big deal. So getting out of lower round 1, where you go from 12 teams down to 8 teams, massive. Massive for the point difference. 50-point gain, which is where 00 Nation's going to hope to make those up. And they're going to need it, because if they don't make top 6, they're out. It's going to be the same for all the teams below them too. If they do not make top 6, they're done. Which top 6 is winning your group. And if you don't win your group, then you're battling through 2 rounds of lowers. This is the lower quarterfinals, for those that do not know. This is when all the top teams drop down and you have your top 8 still, or your top 6 still. So it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. They need a lot of help, and they need some top tier teams to really fall bad. Like, in order for them to clinch a spot, like no questions asked, yeah, we won. And we need Dignitas to not make it into, like, out of groups. And we need Evil Geniuses not to be top 6. It's like, good luck. Good heckin' luck. Very, very difficult. Show the last scenarios for everybody on the YouTube. Up next, we've got Semper. I'm going to start on the right side. Semper also. This is what's probably one of the craziest things for me with Semper. Semper went from being a top 4 team at the Fall Major. They beat Dignitas in quarterfinals in the Fall Major. Made top 4. And now they are tied for 11th in the standings with 00 Nation. That is a massive change. A lot of contrast. Semper has just not been there, and it's unfortunate. They need some help. They need some help, which is crazy. So same thing for them. First in groups is a guaranteed top 6. They need to at least make it into lower round 3 for a top 5 to 6. And they need all of these things to happen. Kind of tough. So far, they've already checked off 2. Very, very difficult. And again, Wasley's having some fun with the comparisons here. Basically, Semper needs to have a complexity situation. That's the best comparison you can make, right? It's the best comparison you can make. Semper is the complexity of EU right now. You both had a top 8 plus, don't know if you got complacent or what happened, but time to make some adjustments. They do have their new coach, Billy. It is no longer Rams. We will see what happens. See what happens. They also, if they do make the top, need a ton of help as well. Same as everybody else in the lower stuff. Up next, Guild. Guild, who's actually been looking pretty good lately. Guild, though, because they took a while to do it, I mean, this is just absolutely brutal, right? The big thing to pay attention to, number one, CRR edition has been great. I went back and watched a lot of their replays. It looks like an entirely different team. They look so much more accessible when it comes to opportunities on offense. In the past, it was just like either this one person does this thing or we're in trouble. It now looks like a team effort. It seems like CRR has meshed really well with Devo and Nolly. A lot more comfort in Nolly setting stuff up. So this situation, though, is very difficult. Top 6 isn't enough. Even if they place top 6, even if they go first in their group and lose, they're done. Not good enough. You have to make top 4. Have to. Not saying it's impossible, Guild, but you're going to need to do some pretty wild stuff. So you got to get top 4, and you need all these things to happen. Again, process of elimination. If Guild is in top 4, that means other teams cannot be. Hopefully, you're helping yourself out. But you're also needing someone like Endpoint to finish and not make it out of groups. That's where it becomes difficult. Even before any of these things happen, right? Like, you're going to watch Guild. You're going to be watching Guild. You're rooting for Guild. And like, heck yeah, Guild made it out of groups. They're doing good. They did the thing. But then you're going to also see Endpoint make it out of groups. And you'll be like, so it's over. Damn it. Like, it's really tough. They need Endpoint to not make it out of groups. That's basically what you're looking at. And that's probably the easiest way I can summarize these as they change up. Guild needs Endpoint to not make it out of groups. And a bunch of other help. Same thing with Misfits. So, a lot of uphill battles on a lot of these teams. Up next, we got NaVi. NaVi with a new edition of Virtuoso has been looking a little bit better. They also in a very tough spot. Top 6 is not good enough. They need to finish top 4. Similar situation to Guild. They need Endpoint to not make it out of groups. They need Misfits to not make it out of groups. K-Corp, Luminosity, Vitality, Williams Resolve cannot make it out of lower round 1 to make top 8. Like, it's pretty tough, man. It's very tough. And what's insane about this, right? And someone just mentioned it in chat. You look at the difference between all these teams. It's a 60-point difference between top 5 and the next one's down. Which, 50-point difference, if you remember me talking. Lower round 1 to lower round 2. So, like, the very first match of the lower bracket to the second match of the lower bracket is 50 points. So, you've got to perform 2 stages ahead. Kind of like Oxygen and V1 was last week. Very similar regards. It's going to be difficult for a lot of teams. Unless the team just completely bottles it and just messes up. There's a lot of uphill battles because of the way things are performed. So there's still a lot in the running, but some pretty difficult scenarios for sure. In order for them to win, they need to finish top 6. By the way, this isn't even for them winning. This is just for a tiebreaker. Goddamn. If they finish top 4, that's with a tiebreaker. But for them to clinch the major, they need a win. So they have to win the whole thing, and 6 of the following things need to happen. Oof. That's tough. That's very tough. It's not a 50-point gap. It's 60. I know. That's why I said they need 2 standings ahead. The difference between lower round 1 and lower round 2 is 50 points. That's why I said they have to do 2 stages ahead, Zulish. That's why they have to be not 9-12 lower round 1. That's why they can't be lower round 2. They've got to be lower round 3, which is top 6. That's the difference. You say it's tough, but V1 just did it. So who knows? We talk about all this EU depth. We'll see, man. Nobody expected what happened last time, right? To put it in perspective a little bit before we get into the last 2 with Kuxir Minions and Rigs, which are basically not going to happen. Guild made top 6. EG made top 3. Misfits, who was in a really good position, first out of groups, dropped and then beat Guild and still made top 4. They went to 7 against Queso. Again, there was a lot of chance still that we could see some upsets. This is European Rocket League. You know, at the end of the day, there will be, I'm sure, some crazy scenarios. Then again, maybe this is the one time that EU looks normal and like all the best teams just win. Who knows? We'll find out. Up next, Kuxir's Minions. Not saying it's impossible, but if you don't finish in the grand finals, you don't have a chance. Good news, Kuxir's Minions have made it to every main event, right? That's pretty cool. They've always been top 16. That's the good news. Kuxir's Minions has always made top 16. That's improvement. That's awesome. Bad news, They are 0-6 in group stage. They have not won a game in groups. So they are truly 16th. Consistency, but needing to get to the grand finals. I wish you luck, sir. I wish you luck. It's going to be tough. If it happens, we are all losing our minds in a good way. So, yes, Kuxir Minions. It's going to start with one game at a time. Winning a game in the main event is where they're at. Their group is the toughest one, and rightfully so when you're the 16th seed. Their group is absolutely brutal, for those that do not know. I'm pretty sure it's BDS, Misfits, and Luminosity. Yeah. Kuxir's Minions needs to get out of groups against BDS, Luminosity, and Misfits. Why not now, right? Why not now? You know, you need to do it. Everything pressure-wise is on the line. Why not now? Legitimate, like, Hercules 0 to hero moment. Okay? And last but not least, we got Ricks.gg. And they're even worse off. They're even worse off than Kuxir's Minions. They have to win, and everybody and their mom needs to play the worst they've ever played. It's tough, man. Ricks is they gotta win. Basically take what I just said about Kuxir's Minions, but not have them make every main event. There's a chance. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. So with that said, chat, let's go to the main points. These are the big scenarios for everybody to pay attention to. If you want the cheat sheet, again, link to this in the description down below. But Queso and BDS have already qualified. Dignitas needs to finish top 8 or better. That is if they do not make it out of groups. If they do not make it out of groups, they're then hoping for tiebreakers. But if they do make it out of groups, like they have every single time so far in the lower bracket, it means they have to win lower round 1. For Evil Geniuses need to win second. If they take a grand final appearance, they're good. Endpoint and Misfits have to win. If they win, they're good. As for Karmine Corp, Luminosity, Vitality, and Williams Resolve, if they do get eliminated on day 1, I'm not saying they make it out of groups and lose. I'm saying if they do not play on Saturday, they're done. Karmine Corp, Luminosity, Vitality, Williams Resolve need to make Saturday's matches. If they do not, they are done. As for 00 Nation and Semper, if they do not place top 8, that is lower round 2. They have to get one stage past that. Top 6. Top 6 is required. Very difficult. That is either first in your group or lower round 3. For Guild and NaVi, top 6 is not good enough. That is taking first in your group and losing out. They got to place at least top 4. That is Championship Sunday. That is tough. That is very tough. Guild and NaVi got to get to Championship Sunday. If Guild and NaVi aren't playing on Sunday, say goodbye. Kuxir's Minions got to place top 3. Kuxir's Minions got to be top 3. Now, I'm saying, say Guild, NaVi, and Kuxir's Minions are all top 4. They're all playing on Championship Sunday. 1, what is going on? 2, what is going on? It's pretty crazy. And then Ricks. If Ricks doesn't win the whole thing and get a bunch of help, they're out. So, Team Singularity is already out. Stormtroopers is so far out, they disbanded. So that's where we're at. Those are your cheat sheets. Here's all the total points from all the teams. This is how they've performed so far. You see the difference. Kuxir's Minions has bottled out every single time, but that's why Ricks is even more difficult than Kuxir's Minions, because while Kuxir's Minions has gone 0-6, Ricks didn't make last event. So that is where we are at. Those are your tiebreaker scenarios for Europe. If you are one of the teams watching, that is what needs to happen for you to be successful. I know a lot of pros were asking on the Twitter as well. How the heck am I, like, what do I need to do? How do I need to perform? I think it was like Breezy primarily was asking, but these are all your scenarios. Again, massive thank you to Direct and the people behind the scenes that help put these together. They make things so much more accessible and easy to understand. And as a fan, you can just be like, okay, where did my team place? Okay, step by step did these things happen. It makes it so much easier. Without them, a lot of people are just sitting here scratching their head and being like, I have no idea what's going on. So with that said, links to everything I'm talking about in the video down in the description. Make sure you guys go show love to Direct and the things that he does. Again, changing the way RLCS is done is absolutely fantastic. So with that said, any questions, comments, concerns, comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like. And as always, make sure you guys hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll see you later. Everybody in chat, say goodbye to the YouTube frogs. Tell them to come to this the Twitch stream, and we'll see them in the next video.